I have to be frank here. When I'm asked if we made mistakes in writing the Constitution, I said, of course we did, because we are imperfect individuals. But if we made two big mistakes, there are two that we made. Number one, we overestimated the spirit of EDSA. And number two, we underestimated the greed of politicians for power and of the rich for more wealth. And that is why the center of our Constitution is social justice. And all the provisions of the Constitution on social justice are not being implemented. Now,
Chair would like to recognize Attorney Christian Monsod. Please proceed.
how is it on? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm asked to comment on the Joint Resolution number 7. What is the purpose of the amendments? I quote the President in an interview last January 23. The 1987 Constitution was not written for a globalized world. We have to admit it. If so, that we can increase the economic activity in the Philippines, we can attract more foreign investors. This is the same President who a year ago said, for me, all these things being talked about, we can do without changing the Constitution. The President is the chairman of NEDA, which came out in September 22 with the Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028, approved by the President. It states that the country is open for business. I will not enumerate what they said, including all the laws and all the things that's been happening, because you know that. I just want to say that in its 400 pages, there is no mention at all in the Philippine Development Plan of any charter change in the PDP, in the Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028 to fulfill its goals and programs. Moreover, none of the 73 billion of investment pledges secured by the President in his travels abroad, is there any condition for charter change? I'm told that some of these pledges are already being processed. Is the Constitution the problem? May I just take 2 minutes to tell you about what happened 4 years ago. In the case of Japanese manufacturing companies leaving China, who put Philippines as the destination number 4, behind Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. When the Japanese Chamber of Commerce was asked why, since manufacturing is the Constitution, is allowed 100% foreign ownership, the final answer was, problem of country image, they said, which they tried to change but could not. And a big part of that image, corruption. Clearly, there is no need or requirement for charter change to implement the Philippine Development Plan or the investment pledges to the President. What then is the purpose of convening the Constituent Assembly to pass 3 provisions? What is so special about them that will address the so-called problem of restrictions against foreign direct investment? Briefly, on advertising, this is the answer of the advertising people on advertising. The inclusion of the advertising among industries covered by 70-30 foreign ownership stemmed from its mass media buying function that was part of the package offered by full service and services. The premise was that those with access to mass media, like TV, radio, and newspapers, had the power to sway a nation's ethos. By 2000, the media department was unbundled from the creative and account management function, making it a separate business entity. At present, with the onslaught of social media, the industry is an early adopter, and once again, it has become essentially a digital agency. In other words, there is no need for amending that provision. Perhaps with regard to public utility, we already know that there is already a law. On education, I submit there is no need for an amendment at this time, until the Congress has reviewed the report of the Second Congressional Commission on Education released a few weeks ago. It says we have an education crisis, but there is nothing in it but foreign holdings in our college and postgraduate school being a major part of the solution. The problem is in preschool, primary, and secondary. Incidentally, I am against the provision of unless otherwise provided by law provided in the proposal on Section 4, Basic 2. You might, excuse me. In view of the foregoing, why the priority and rush to amend these three economic provisions that are not that meaningful to economic growth and foreign direct investment? Is it part of a compromise between the Senate and the House with the blessing of the President for the discontinuance of the People's Initiative? Or as the saying goes, is this only the thin edge of the wedge that will later allow the real purpose to overhaul the Constitution, major revisions on the structure, and authoritarian Constitution with more powers to the incumbents of government? I trust that the Senate will not allow this to happen. Instead of charter change, in conclusion, why not legislate the following? Number one, an anti-dynasty law, which is long overdue by 36 years. Number two, amend the party list system that politicians abuse with just 3 amendments, include an anti-dynasty provision. Number two, remove the limit of 3 congressmen from any party because it's a system of proportional representation. And third, deleting the phrase, and I quote, with a track record of advocacy, unquote, that enabled the Forbes Park resident to represent tricycle drivers. Instead, please review Republic Act 4090 by adding a provision that scholarships could be given directly to students as envisaged in Article 14, Section 3 of the Constitution, and it's the students who choose to go to school. In mining, a reform law is badly needed. Those proposed during the Duterte and Aquino administrations died in committee with the wink of the mining companies on transactional legislation. And number 4, on electoral reform, both on the quality of the process and the quality of the vote. Please look into the process of a hybrid system at the precinct level with respect to factors affecting the value of the vote. Once that devalue the vote, it's about money, the use of government money. And it is about the problem of firearms, 1 million unlicensed firearms. And please look into the alert study that 20 new private armies in Mindanao have been organized during the pandemic. And with that, Your Honors, I conclude my opening remarks. Thank you.